Hey guys, it's Matt. Attempt number 10. At some point, the emotion has to clear, and I think it's clearing. It cannot linger forever. Let me just get this out. Maybe I'll be able to continue. Violet is gone. I got an email at 7:45 this morning, which I missed. I was up at 5:30 this morning. I went and I did something. I came back. There's no possible way I can read you the email. It was basically something like, I'm about to depart this world. I don't know if I can get this out. Just keep pausing. I'll do it that way. It's better than starting over. Guys, the people, the segment of people here in this community, it was unbelievable people are here. It was a beautiful experience for her, for what I saw. Boy, were the incredible, kind souls. I think were separated from the trolls and the monsters. And not that you had to agree that assisted suicide's a good thing. I understand many did not agree, but they did it with respect and with compassion. And I'm not talking about those that just disagreed with the decision. There were many people presented that in a very respectable way to the channel, to me, to Violet. But boy, did this topic really expose the low creatures. You can disagree with the decision, but boy, did the low creatures rise to the top to be seen, as they usually do. They can't hide. This channel's large, but for the most part, the core group here is a very special group of people. There's no question about it. The highest evolution of the spiritual being is here. There's no question about it. The emails I got, send Violet this note, send her this song. It was, in the comments, I can tell you she truly appreciated it. I was getting email updates, 15 hours. I got an email until I depart this reality or this existence. Her sister luckily was there with her in Switzerland. I gave her my cell number a while back. She never called me. Again, we'll move on, guys, to other topics. We will talk about assisted suicide a little bit more and put this issue to rest. But, talk about someone to emulate. I got my internet back not late last night, but yesterday afternoon, late. And I wasn't trying to say how happy I was. I just wanted to let her know that I can communicate again. And she emails, one of the emails that came back was, "I'm glad you got your internet back." Who would, with 14 hours left to go, who would start a email with that, thinking of somebody else right to the end? Incredible. Just in a tiny way, I was there with her for the last 6 weeks, in a very distant way, of course. I didn't know her personally. But boy, what an experience. Matt, I thought you said something like only the NPCs cry at funerals, and we cry, but the reasons are completely different, I believe. The reasons, I'm not crying because I'm going to miss Violet. I didn't even know her. The beauty of the entire experience is incredible. Now, not that she had to be put to death in the disease, of course, but the way she went about it, the people in this community that cared, the love that flowed, that's why I cry. Okay, I'm better now. We'll see. Let me address just for 2 minutes one part of what I talked about yesterday. I understand there's a segment here that are vehemently opposed to assisted suicide, but one more time to that group, just 2 minutes or less. If she did nothing, she had, 3, 4, or 5 more weeks left, maybe less. The loss of function, the loss of brain function, incredible severe pain, brain stabbing pains. I just don't understand those. It's what I said yesterday, so I'll be brief. Don't say it again, Matt. Those that said she needs to stick it out. Why would that possibly be? I said the word judge a few times yesterday, but I wasn't clear on what I was saying. Like a judge, like God, saying, well, you were doing pretty good. But you needed to stick it out. You needed to go through that pain and loss of function, maybe going to the bathroom in your pants, or you needed to do that for 5 weeks. So now there's a judge somewhere, I guess. So now you failed. You're a loser. So, and for those that don't see it as a judge or a God on high, or they might still see what somebody said to me in an email, Matt, I think we're put here, whether it's an element of higher self or oversoul or the aspect of you that's not here, to stick it out. Why? And the email that I went back to that person with was, we're not perfect here in anything we do. And I mean anything. The most pious person has done kind of a gross thing a few times, or a perverted thing a few times, with a magazine or something. The nicest person at some point has screamed at somebody that didn't deserve it. The nicest person in the world has shown hate at least a few days in their life. So in this regard, we need to be absolutely perfect. So suicide is just suicide. It's all the same definition, just broad brush. So the 21-year-old young person whose girlfriend or boyfriend went off with another girl, 21, and some passionate thing just says, I can't live anymore, and throw themselves off a bridge, or they just can't take their job stress or whatever, or the stockbroker that goes out to the train tracks, that's the same as somebody that has 4 weeks to live, that has stabbing pains in the brain, who's losing function. That are you really? It's just the same definition. All suicide's the same. It's all equally bad. Yeah. You need to stick with that disease as you wither away with 5 weeks of basically the worst form of suffering that anybody could possibly imagine. See, we don't have to win, whatever you call the spiritual win. We don't have to be perfect here in anything we do. You know how I know that? Because nobody's perfect, and somebody wins eventually. So it's maybe a small group, but people do win. Okay, people do what they need to do here, and they move on. Those people were not perfect in any regard. Yet some people were calling for say Violet to be perfect in this. No, you must go to the bathroom in your pants and do whatever would have happened to her over the next 4 to 5 weeks. You must be perfect here, although the reality doesn't call for perfection anywhere else. Does that make any sense? As I've said many times, it's an issue I have with Buddhism. Now, I'm no expert on Buddhism. I've read a few easy-to-read books, a little bit better than Buddhism for Dummies, but not too much more difficult. But if I'm wrong here, let me know. There are Buddhists here, people that studied in Buddhism before they moved on. If I'm wrong about this, let me know. Isn't the standard for a Buddhist, the Buddha itself, the standard to strive for, to get rid of karma? It's an unrealistic standard is put forth. Am I misinterpreting that in Buddhism? A completely unrealistic standard. Everybody on the day of their death as a Buddhist knows they didn't get anywhere near the standard of the Buddha. Therefore, they pile on the karma on themselves, not knowing it's up to them to pile more on or release it. This is my biggest issue with Buddhism. List out every virtue possible that's ever been known. Has anybody achieved a perfect score in any of those virtues every day of their life? Well, of course, no one's even gotten close. One last time. So in terms of sticking it out and, you should have actually lived 4 weeks longer. The judge on high must be saying, you failed. If you would have just done those extra 4 weeks, guess what? There's no judge on high anyway. You know what determines if you win? Basically you, or the aspect of you that's not here. As Tony used to say, has the collective pieces and parts of Tony used to say, of the simultaneous incarnation done enough to finally exit the game. There's no judge outside. There's no Simon Cowell with a scorecard or American Idol. I was thinking about, references in a job application. And, it was always the worst part. Like when we submit a resume after graduating Penn State, list 3 references. I'm like, oh gosh, he's so stupid. List references. And can you be my reference and all that? I think, maybe in some way, if that's a stuffed Lennon or a Humpty Dumpty, I have Violet covered there. Because one of the last emails I sent her was, maybe somebody in life, while they're still alive, has to declare an outside reference that you won. You can move on to the highest level. So I said, I'll do that. I got you covered. I'll do it. Why she was still here. I didn't know the exact time until after the last email, but I had a sense. I said, well, I just declared you've won. It doesn't matter what your past has been. If your past has been bad or whatever. This was alluded to in the email. I didn't type these things out. You've atoned already. You've become somebody to emulate, somebody that almost anybody can emulate in the way you've gone through the last 5 or 6 weeks. I said, if you need a reference, maybe that's part of the game here. I said, well, I've already declared while you're alive, you've won. You move on to the highest level. Of course, I said, I'll do that after you've passed as well, as others have, I'm sure, have helped us out there. Like you've won. You've won. So I did it on the back end and on both ends. And Matt, is that necessary? No, I don't think it's probably not necessary at all. Who knows? This game is so strange. There's so much trickery here. I'm not taking anything for granted. There's so much, the evil element is so evil genius in what it does and how it puts things forth. I'm not taking any chances. We need to do just general affirmations to help each other. Just who knows? Do I think this stuff's necessary? No. It's getting a little strange, but I was thinking, why take any chances? I'll affirm while you're still alive, you've won, and after you've gone, you've won. And is that necessary? Probably not. 99% it's not necessary. But why not? I wasn't exhausted for the rest of the day after I did that for Violet. I would hope people would do that for me or have somebody do that for you. Who knows? Who the heck knows? When I have to leave the DMV driver center, look down at a damn name and say, that's not me. This reality is evil genius, and it's a son of a bitch in how it plays a trick. I'm not taking any chances. That didn't come out really clearly, so just one more minute to reiterate. When you leave the DMV driver center, the name in all caps, the legal fiction, the straw man, or any government records center, or even the way that your name's on a credit card or whatever, 99% plus whatever, close to 99.9 with the decimal and the nines going in who knows how many spaces, how many people that ever lived understand that name is not them. It's the straw man, the legal fiction. How many people would laugh at us over time for even proposing that this is how this reality plays a trick through a legal fiction? I mean, how devious, how degenerate the workings of this reality are to facilitate the trick. I will take nothing for granted. I will cover all bases. Yeah, man, but by covering all bases, you're basically saying that it's not up to you. I understand the dilemma here, and I think I have some time to work through it. Matt, if you have to get Juan over here, I know he lives in Miami, to do the affirmation that you go to the highest level while you're still alive, then you have to get half your channel to do it after you're dead, Matt, or else you can't get that. It's implying you don't have the ability to do it yourself. I hear you. I believe deep down we have the ability to do it ourselves. Tony would say, this is crazy. Higher self's in control of everything. Your own higher self. You don't need Juan in Miami to say, Matt, you go to the highest level. But who knows? I think if Juan does that for me, I don't think it hurts. I think, it's positive energies. That's what I was trying to give. I said to Violet every time, I said, you don't need this. You don't need me to do this. You've already won, but I'm going to do it. Can't hurt. So I hear you. One kind of implies we don't have the power to do it ourselves. And Matt, if you even put that forth, you're taking power away from your ability to do it yourself. Okay, I'm in a little loop here. We'll work through it as we work through most things. This has been an interesting remedy, just getting kind of worked up and kind of pissed off. The sad emotion is kind of suppressed. So I can talk about this issue. Well, Matt, the NPCs cry for different reasons, I think. For different reasons. I got choked up only today knowing she was gone, only when I'm doing this video. It all came up thinking the emails that I sent and the love everybody showed and some of her last emails, got real choked up, had to record over. I was much worse last night. The funeral in the big church or whatever was after the fact. And the NPCs cry. And I was a mess last night thinking about the situation, how incredible, how hardcore, also with the tremendous love that poured out of everybody. And some people will send me little things around Christmas, and I'll just say to Eva, sends me little wrapped gifts. It's the only gifts that I unwrap at Christmas. I called her once. I just cried my eyes out, not because Eva's going to go away, or just the pure love of the pure the non-selfishness of the people here, the incredible nature of some of the people here brings tears to my eyes. That's what I was thinking about, but also how hardcore difficult. Nothing in existence, in the history of existence, in this material plane, is as difficult, whether you agree with it or not, as to what she went through. Knowing the exact day and time of your end. Okay, yeah, she showed incredible courage. I never detected any fear at all in the emails. It was incredible. Yet everybody has a little bit, of course. That's part of this experience. That's, if you didn't have any, something would be wrong. I mean, that's a necessary part of this experience. But to know the day and the time, nothing in existence it requires that much courage. Even people that are sick and have a hard, but they go day by day and then they die. Okay, they know they're going to die soon, but they don't know exactly when. There's a difference, an absolute difference. They might say, I don't think I'm going to make it for another, but then there's always that, I'll probably wake up in the morning. It does not take the same courage as knowing the day and the time. I don't know how many of us could do it. I mean, there is nothing in terms of courage that compares to that. The trolls will latch on to this. Matt, you're glorifying. It sounds like you're glorifying assisted suicide. Right? I don't even know how to respond to that. That idiocracy, that I don't even know what to say back to that. I know it'll come, but I'm not going to even waste time justifying that. No, I don't think healthy people should go. I mean, what a bunch of morons float in and out of this channel from time to time. So when we talk about the NBC's crying at the funeral and some of the strange reasons I don't even think they're consciously aware of, because they don't want to be in that person's situation. They don't want to ever leave this world. They're in love with this world, or they're safe over here and they truly feel the person's screwed, but they don't feel it ever happened to them. They don't see that what's happened to the person will happen to them. So that person in the casket's screwed. Real people cry for different reasons. The love, the incredible nature of the experience, the incredible courage that was demonstrated, that is what brings tears to my eyes, not what typically. I think there is a difference between when I cry, or you might cry, and the NPC cries at a funeral. Some of which cry because that's the automated response and the script and the download that's called for. Guys, one quick thing that I have to stop doing is throwing around the term NPC too quickly, too loosely. It still may exist, of course, but there are a lot of real people here, the same spiritual makeup as you and me, but they're acting like the NPC if the NPC exists. They're in love with the world. They're in love with getting closer to its sick culture that it's put out. These people want to get closer to its frequency. They love the radio station. So when I just say NPC, I mean, how many real people are acting like the NPC? And the point is, then does it matter? If there's 50 people in a room, how many are NPCs and how many are real like you and me and people listening to this, but on the download, so they act like the NPC and do whatever this thing called the not milk wants. It doesn't matter. If you're on the frequency, it doesn't matter. So I need a new name, and just talk about the NPC. A true NPC implies that its soul is not the same as you. It's something that may never have a chance to get out of here, or a soul that's derived locally or something. It does not have the same possible bridge out. It's kind of doomed. I mean, that may exist, it may not. Tony absolutely believed that classification exists. But we need a catch-all term, because how many of your best friends love to sit down and watch the evening news? They could be as real as you. This is not a great term. I just thought of it. I'm re-recording this segment. An automatonic cipher. Okay, that's not great, but who knows if it'll stick. Cypher in the Matrix, he wanted back in badly. Matrix 1, right? It was that Guido, the killer pimp from Risky Business. He just wanted his old life, and he says, and I want to be rich, and I want to forget everything. I want to forget being on Morpheus' ship, and I want to be famous. You put me back in that pod. You put me back in that Matrix. So a lot of real people, not that they're trying to get back in the Matrix, but they're trying to get even closer to it. They want more presence on social media. They're acting like cipher. Their automatonic implies a download or a frequency. So it could be better. For now, it's an automatonic cipher. Not deciphering, but decipher the character from the matrix. So if somebody could be an NPC or a real person that has every chance to succeed, that you do, that I do, but we're just cozying up to Facebook every day. That's an automatonic cipher. And in terms of how we interact with groups of people, it doesn't matter. If they're an automatonic cipher, we know how they're going to react. We know how they're going to react if we try to tell them something. We know how they're going to react to a news headline. It doesn't really matter if they're a real spiritual being or not. So in this, what might be the final section, guys, I want to give you my personal opinion on suicide, assisted suicide, everything that, I just, in a way, got close to something I'd never experienced before, and give you my final take. First off, there is no people that, let's say they reacted a certain way in the comments. I think the biggest mistake they make, among many, is broad brushing it. We talked about it a few minutes back. The 21-year-old who lost the girlfriend, suicide, is that the same as somebody that's going to suffer for 4 weeks and only has 4 or 5 weeks left? So from whether it be the perspective of their higher self or of God, or that's the same, really? Okay, don't do the same thing over. I need to stress that again. Obviously, broad brushing it is really ignorant. It's not the same. So if, Tony talked about higher self having the simultaneous incarnations and doing enough to exit the material plane, doing enough, at least the incarnation's doing enough to get everybody out. Okay, we've done enough of this. No more material plane. Okay, it was like a reincarnation to a degree, what Tony talked about, but like a self-imposed, not karma or anything. The higher self going, we haven't done what we need to do here. We haven't learned all that we need to learn here. So, if in Violet's situation with, a few weeks of suffering left, I don't think a God on a throne is going to say, you needed to really stick it out. I don't think a higher self is going to say, well, we didn't learn anything. If you would have just suffered and pooped your pants for 3 more weeks, we would have learned something, but you took the easy way. I don't think so. And again, I'm just kind of repeating a thing, but how do I know that? Because we are not perfect in anything we do here. Even the best person that's ever existed in any one category is not perfect. So Violet going through the many, many months of suffering. It's not like she started suffering last Wednesday. She's already been through many, many, many months and this and that and all. That's not enough, huh? That's not enough. The God on the throne is going to say, you didn't do it. You didn't go far enough. Really? Well, what? Show me a human that's gone far enough in any regard. This person exhibits a lot of love, but I bet they've shown hate a few times. And okay, we don't need to revisit the same thing. I don't understand those that broad brush it. All suicide's the same. Okay, whatever. If it violates your religious beliefs and tenets and it's strictly in the Bible, okay, then I hear you. I hear you. That's falling back on a religious structure or tenet or belief system that those people believe is much larger than themselves. I understand that. Many people showed respect while disagreeing. Okay, but there's a segment. There's that 10% that really, and then there's that little tiny percentage of the troll nature just came up and they, showed their true selves, like a vampire movie they're like a werewolf movie when the moon pops out and they show their true selves. That happened again in this, any sort of video where it's about pure love and the real beautiful beings rise to the top, even if they don't agree with their compassion. It's yin yang, right? When that brings the best qualities of people out, the worst people show their fangs. It happens every time. We should do more of this. Bring those trolls out and kick them out of here for good. Thanks for listening, and thanks to everybody with their well wishes. And I 100% assure you, 100% that Violet appreciated the last month I've mentioned her a few times about starting about a month ago, and she appreciated every bit of it, every bit of advice. Joe in Mexico sent her a long email. He has past life memories, and all sorts of people helped out. She appreciated every bit of it. And the most important thing I did was remove nasty troll comments so she couldn't see them. But it was just another opportunity to get rid of the trolls, which I always appreciate. Thank you, everybody. And, another big storm tonight. I was going to say, I'll see you tomorrow. Saturday, we'll do something completely different. Another big, it's basically what happened on Tuesday. I tried to go to Target this morning, had to turn around, drive home. Roads closed, power lines down. Okay, 2 hours later, I'll go to Aldi and get whatever I like to get there. I haven't been in the Aldi for a month, food store, whatever. The different direction down the road. Go out, go left, down towards Route 401. Completely closed. I couldn't leave the house. I'm going to try when I load this to go get some food or something. Both directions completely closed off. Now, most of the area around Philadelphia is not like this. We were decimated up here. I don't know, we had straight line winds. I started filming some of it, but I got to walk all the way up and down this road. I didn't get much. Maybe I'll show you the one clip. But the round two of it's the same kind of storm, but less intensity, they said. Still up to 45-mile-an-hour winds tonight. And, so if you don't hear from me, either way, I probably could, I don't know, take a computer out somewhere, plug in and get Rob the Sunday free voice. But if you don't hear from me tomorrow, it's because, again, I've lost internet. I've lost electricity. Here we go again. Thanks, guys.